Hey everyone, I'm Jim and welcome back to My Movie Obsession, a place for film obsessives. If you're like me and you constantly find yourself obsessing over retro movies, superhero movies, and any movies like these that provoke discussion, you're probably in the right place. So if you saw my review of The Grinch 2018, you'll know that I quite liked the film, but I was just a bit nonplussed by it overall. I do think it's a harmless, kind of nice children's movie. But you know, it wasn't the greatest movie in the world. But what I thought would be fun to do is compare some of the parts in The Grinch 2018 with The Grinch from the year 2000, starring one of my favourite actors, Jim Carrey. So basically I broke it down into some categories just to compare the film and see which one comes out stronger. I'm going to try and be unbiased, I'm going to try and be looking at it with a critical eye. And I by no means think that The Grinch 2000 is a flawless movie. It's a very flawed movie. Just because I'm a fan of it doesn't mean I'm going to completely favour it in all areas. You know, there are some areas which The Grinch 2018 definitely does better. So which is better? Let's have a look. So with the land of WHOVILLE, how does WHOVILLE look in the film? That crazy little town full of Christmas obsessed maniacs that Dr. Seuss created. Which film does it look better in? Is it The Grinch 2018 or How the Grinch Stole Christmas from 2000? You know what, I would actually give The Grinch 2018 this one. I actually think that the WHOVILLE in this film is probably the best looking out of the two. Ron Howard's WHOVILLE I liked a lot, but I do think The Grinch 2018 kind of had that storybook charm to it, and it kept that childlike innocence to it. The Ron Howard one kind of looked a bit weird in places. I do think it has charm, but I do think it's a little bit in places bizarre, kind of Tim Burton-esque. Whereas this one, it feels and looks like the book, so of course it's going to edge out The Grinch 2000. I mean, I really liked it. I like the vibrant colours, I like the animation. I think WHOVILLE looks welcoming, looks bright, looks happy, looks vibrant. And it doesn't really in The Grinch 2000. It kind of looks a bit creepy, as do a lot of the Who's. They look a bit like creepy bastards. The Grinch's lair I probably prefer in The Grinch 2000. I think that's probably better, because that should be dark, that should be edgy, that should be odd and creepy. I liked it. It had this vast expanse, so it looked like a storybook villain's lair. The Grinch, his lair in the 2018 film, kind of felt a bit too nicey nice for me. The Grinch's lair looks just like a house, and it wouldn't be a house, because the Grinch is a crazy individual. The Grinch is a nutter, so why would he have a normal lair? He'd have a dark, sinister lair. That's where you have the excuse to be dark, and that's what The Grinch 2000 did very well. I think the lair looks a lot better. But that's probably it. I do think WHOVILLE in the 2018 film looks better. I do think it looks better. I think it looks crisp, I think it looks vibrant, it looks charming, and that's how you want WHOVILLE to appear. And it's welcoming, so, you know, it's not in any way creepy where you're sitting there going, what the fuck's that over there? What are you doing, Ron Howard? So the next one I'm going to go for supporting cast, and I would give it to The Grinch 2000. I do think the supporting cast in The Grinch 2000 was very, very funny. I thought they had a lot of character, a lot of energy to them. They were creepy, yes. I do agree that the WHOVILLE guys, they looked weird. They looked odd. But they were funny. You know, I really like the mayor of WHOVILLE in The Grinch 2000. He was just an absolute jerk. And he was really, really fun to hate. And he had a lot of fun lines. And, you know, the other WHOVILLE characters, you know, like Martha May, who's got a crush on the Grinch, was a funny character. It was a funny idea that she's got this crush on this green furry monster, and she was overly sexualised in the movie, but I think she was sweet as well, so I enjoyed watching her. Every character had a bit of charisma. You know, I like how you had the WHOVILLE residents fighting it out over Christmas lights, who has the best Christmas lights. And one of the best scenes in the film is where Cindy Lou Who's mum thinks that she's decorating her house as the best lights in WHOVILLE, but then suddenly she turns and Martha May, her neighbour, gets this kind of machine gun light shooter, I guess you'd call it, and then Martha May just simply annihilates what Cindy Lou's mum thinks is good decorations. She takes it to a whole nother crazy level. And you know what, I really like that scene because it reminds me of the houses that I see sometimes in Christmas where they're just so decorated. It's like, how long did that take? You're going too far there. Calm down, calm down. Yeah, the WHOVILLE residents in The Grinch 2000, they looked a bit bizarre, but they were memorable. And I feel like The Grinch 2018, I like Kenan Thompson's character. I like how he's running around spreading the goodwill Christmas. He's like an annoying Who. You know, and I feel like in Grinch 2018, they tried to move away from the annoying Who's. Whereas in The Grinch 2000, all the Who's are just obsessed with Christmas. Whereas The Grinch in this film, the new one, they kind of already know the true meaning of Christmas, which I kind of liked how in the old film they learnt the true meaning of Christmas along with the Grinch. This one, they're kind of charming already, so they don't have that annoying style to them, they don't have that bizarre style to them. I guess Kenan Thompson's character is probably the only example of that. We don't see much of the Who's in this new film. We see the mayor, played by Angela Lansbury. We see her, and it was good to see her do a voice because she's, you know, a legend in Disney and in films from back in the 60s, children's films, and Murder, She Wrote, of course. But she wasn't in it much, and not many Who's were in it, whereas you can say in Ron Howard's film, the Who's were in it, and they had personality and they had flair, and the Who's themselves, while they were annoying in moments, they were funny, and they had personality, and they had something to add to the film. And they go on an emotional journey with the Grinch, so there's a reason to have them there. The next category is charm. Which movie had the best charm? I'm going to go for The Grinch 2000. Now, The Grinch 2018, I said this in my review, the way that the Grinch comes to his kind of realisation is really, really bad. And it's like the film has no intention to make it about a journey. You know, the Grinch in the 2018 film, he's kind of already a nice guy inside. He doesn't have to learn much. He learns a little bit, you know, and he kind of, one incident happens and his heart grows. Whereas in The Grinch 2000, yes, it's, I guess, one incident, but it's more powerful, and you see an emotional journey for the Grinch. You know, he meets Cindy Lou Who, and she starts to kind of break down his barriers that he's built up against everyone, and you see a gradual turn, and Jim Carrey plays it really, really well. The moment where Jim Carrey's Grinch realises the true meaning of Christmas, it warms my heart, and it will warm my heart in December when I watch it. It's an absolutely charming scene.
Maybe Christmas, he thought, doesn't come from a star. Maybe Christmas, perhaps, means a little bit more.
It's an incredible scene, and Jim Carrey's acting just knocks it out the park. You know, you can't tell me that this moment isn't just the most charming thing you've ever seen. It's incredible that he gave such emotion in that suit, and I feel like, you know, it's really important, the charm of the Grinch movie, and just to have the Grinch in the new film just go, right, okay, that's something I didn't realise. This one, the Grinch is lying on top of a mountain and he bursts into tears. It's like a real transformation. There's just moments where you're just, you have a smile on your face and your heart is warmed. There's a few of moments like that in the 2018 film, but it just doesn't go far enough. It doesn't take it far enough. It's almost as like, well, we're making this for kids, but kids don't understand actual character arcs, so we won't do it. And I think that's a flaw in the movie. The next category is the Grinch himself. So we have Benedict Cumberbatch in the new film and Jim Carrey back in 2000. And I'm going to give it to the Grinch 2000 again. Now, this is really, really close. You know, I was not expecting whatsoever to have Benedict Cumberbatch even approach Jim Carrey. You know, I wasn't a fan of the trailers at all. I don't think... They just picked bizarre moments in that. It just didn't seem like the film. And a lot of what was in the trailers isn't in the film, so it's not a very good depiction of Benedict Cumberbatch's performance. But he's really, really good. His voice really brings this character to life. I do think Benedict Cumberbatch captured a side of the Grinch we hadn't actually seen. You know, the more sarcastic, the more having a good time, the more making jokes type Grinch. Just a cynical, grumpy guy. Why I think Jim Carrey edges it out is because he completely became the character. He completely embodied the Grinch. It's literally like, you know, people say it's like watching Jim Carrey. I don't agree. He's got some Jim Carrey moments in the film, but he really becomes the Grinch. It's a real dedication that he gave this part, and it was a terrible time on set for Jim Carrey applying the makeup, you know, so he put his all into this part. And I think that the Grinch in this, he's scary, he's sinister, he's creepy, but he's hilarious. There's so many great Jim Carrey ad-libs in there. Jim Carrey is an absolute maniac nutter in this film, and it, you know, he brings his humour to it, but he puts it out there as something that the Grinch would say.
4 o'clock, wallow in self-pity. 4:30, stare into the abyss. 5 o'clock, solve world hunger. Tell no one. 5:30, jazzercise. 6:30, dinner with me. I can't cancel that again. 7 o'clock, wrestle with my self-loathing. I'm booked. Of course, if I bumped the loathing to 9, I could still be done in time to lay in bed, stare at the ceiling, and slip slowly into madness.
I do think it's close. I think Benedict Cumberbatch, it's the way that he impressed me more than I thought he would. So he does stand tall as a good Grinch actor, but I think Jim Carrey edges it out on this one. He's the best Grinch. The next category I'm going to choose is the kids appeal. So the Grinch is for kids, isn't it, overall? So which movie appeals most to children? And I would go for the Grinch 2018. I think that was one of the strengths of the movie. It actually made a point of making a children's movie. It didn't do a lot what the Grinch 2000 did. Try and bring in some adult jokes, try and bring in some raunchy humour, try and bring in some of Jim Carrey's more adult orientated humour. It didn't. It literally said, this is a kids movie. But the problem is, yes, it's a kids movie, but Toy Story 3 is a kids movie. The Toy Story movies are kids movies, and they still pack an emotional punch. You didn't have to strip away the emotional punch. But I do feel like The Grinch 2018 is a film you can put kids down in front of and they will love it. They'll sit there and enjoy it, and it's a harmless, enjoyable kids film. There's nothing offensive about the film. It doesn't take many risks, but as a kids movie, as an entertaining, fast-paced telling of the Grinch story, it's more appropriate for kids, and it's probably in some ways more fun than The Grinch 2000, which in moments is a bit of a mess. So it's probably more consistent than The Grinch 2000, so that's why it edges out in this category. Max is the next category. Yes, Max the dog, who was actually played by a female dog called Kelly in The Grinch 2000, which is interesting. And I feel like I would give it to The Grinch 2000, even though this is close, because The Grinch 2018, they made Max so adorable and so cute. He does everything for the Grinch in that movie. You know, whereas in Max in The Grinch 2000, he's a little bit more resistant to the Grinch, which is amazing since it's a dog, and he actually puts a good performance of being indifferent to a lot of Jim Carrey's antics. But Max in the 2018 movie was so sweet. You know, he'd do anything for the Grinch, and the Grinch returned his affection. So it was a nice kind of man and his dog relationship. The Grinch 2000, I enjoy watching it a bit more for Max, because he has to, behind the Grinch's back, show his love for Christmas, like when the Grinch walks in and Max is dancing to Christmas music. I think that's hilarious. So they're kind of at odds, and it's incredible that Jim Carrey had such chemistry with a dog, because they do feel like they have chemistry and they're at odds with each other. There is a friendship there, but there's more of a conflict between the two, and it's just fun to watch. I think Kelly the dog done amazing. You know, they were actually going to choose a CGI dog originally, which, imagine if they'd have got rid of Kelly the dog from the Grinch 2000. It brings it down. It would bring it down. You know, Max is great in the Grinch 2000, but it is close. I think Max in the new one is really good too. Cindy Lou Who is next, and you know what? I'm going to give it to the Grinch 2018. I think Cindy Lou Who in the Grinch 2018, she felt like more of a real child. She was just having fun. You know, she was kind, but she didn't spend her time trying to convert people around her to her ideas. She was just a child. And I kind of feel like Taylor Momsen in How the Grinch Stole Christmas has that kind of Mara Wilson syndrome, because Mara Wilson in Miracle 34th Street, she was a good little actress, but she was kind of had this authority where she was telling, it was like a child telling adults how to think, and that's what Taylor Momsen sort of done in that film. You know, and she was sweet and everything, and I do like watching her, but she's written as so perfect, so charming, so she speaks with such authority. She's like the only who can realise the true meaning of Christmas, and she's a little girl. I just feel like it came across a little bit pompous, but you can't hate her because she's an adorable little sweet girl. But in the Grinch 2018, they actually make Cindy Lou Who, her intentions are not to melt the Grinch's heart. She's running around in this film, she's having fun, she's a child, she's free. She's actually looking for Santa in the Grinch 2018, so she goes on parallel lines with the Grinch. And I think that's really cool, because instead of having her whole part in the film being her and the Grinch, in this she's on parallel lines, and she encounters the Grinch, and they don't have much of a relationship, but they build a little one. Whereas in the 2000 they have loads of a relationship building. And I just felt like it was a little bit more authentic in the 2018 one, because it was just more like the Grinch meets a really nice kid. The Grinch meets a really fun-loving kid who shows him love, and it warms his heart. Whereas Taylor Momsen's one, you know, from minute one she was doing everything she could to melt the Grinch's heart. She was being too nice and too sweet, and a bit too in your face with her innocence and her cutesiness. So you know what, I'm going to give it to The Grinch 2018 for Cindy Lou Who. And the final one is rewatchability, and I'm going to give it to The Grinch 2000. This is just a personal one because The Grinch 2000, I'll watch it every year at Christmas. I just think it's a charming movie, I really do. I know it's got raunchy humour, I know it's got over the top humour, I know it's got some creepy moments, the Who's are like absolute mentalists, but it has that heart, and when Jim Carrey goes through that transformation, it always hits me hard. And I think Jim Carrey is so funny in this. This was the height of Jim Carrey, you know, and it's just, as I say, what he pulled off in the suit, you know, and just, you know, the way this film does take you into a world, even though it's not necessarily the WHOVILLE of the 2018 film, it's not necessarily the WHOVILLE of the book even, it's a little creepier, it's a little bit more stranger, but it still takes you into a real world. And Ron Howard's direction is fun, the movie's fun, uplifting, and I just watch it every time and just get transported back to my youth watching this film, and I remember it always had that emotional impact on me. The Grinch 2018, it's not got much rewatchability at all because it's just there. It really is just there. It doesn't try and do anything, which is a shame because the ingredients are all there. Benedict Cumberbatch is there, you've got a great Max the dog, you've got a great Cindy Lou, but it's very safe, very, very safe, and it's not memorable. And I can't see myself watching this every Christmas. I just can't. There's nothing about it that doesn't have that sparkle that the Grinch 2000 has. It doesn't have those genuine emotional moments. It has some nice moments near the end, I must say. Benedict Cumberbatch has a speech near the end where the Grinch does pull on your heartstrings, but it doesn't do enough. And that's the problem with this film. It doesn't do much. And that's the problem with its rewatchability. So you know what? I'll give it to the Grinch 2000. Just because I will never tire of seeing Jim Carrey in that suit. It's one of the greatest casting choices of all time. It really is. What he created in that suit is monumental. So How the Grinch Stole Christmas, for me, outranks The Grinch 2018 in more areas. But The Grinch 2018 took a couple of spots. So what do you guys think of The Grinch 2018? Have you seen it? And what do you guys think of How the Grinch Stole Christmas? I actually plan to review the movie in December. I'm going to do a load of Christmas reviews. I absolutely love Christmas, guys. I'm going to be sitting here in my Christmas jumper. I'm going to be off my tits. Probably not off my tits, but I'll be loving Christmas. I'll be loving life. So let me know in the comments, guys, what you think of both these movies, how you would rank them, and stay tuned for more videos. I have more retro movie reviews, superhero movie reviews planned. I have my review of Batman v Superman coming up soon. And yeah, if you would like to subscribe to this channel, if you love movies, if you're obsessed with them, retro, superhero, all of that good stuff, definitely subscribe to the channel, definitely click that notification bell to make sure you don't miss anything, and I'll see you in the next video.